Hello, welcome to the stream. It is Monday, which means um my mind went blank. I had intro words prepared. It's Monday, so that means it's time to try something new again. And today we are going to be playing the dungeon The Hole in the Oak, which I have not played or run before. And we're going to be using a one-page system to do it. So here is the system. This is it in its entirety. The title is slightly clickbaity. It's not exactly the simplest RPG. I'm sure there are simpler things that you could like. There's an RPG Roll for Shoes, which is even simpler. There's supposedly a one-word RPG, but I'm not sure if I consider that an RPG. But in terms of things that are actually fantasy flavored and are definitely RPGs, this one is definitely on the lower end of complexity. So, what is it? Well, this is a one-stat game. So a character has a single stat, which is from 1 to 6. And if they're attempting something that requires like physical brawn or prowess or strength or fighting or violence or anything like that, you want to roll under your skill. If you're doing something that requires mental acuity, diplomacy, wisdom, magic, that sort of thing, you want to roll above your skill. That's it. That's the system. And then you roll either 1 to 3 dice depending on the situation. So the default is 1 die if you are prepared for the situation. You get an extra die, and if you're an expert, I guess if you're like trained in it, you get a 3rd die. So I think in practice you'll be rolling 2 dice most of the time. You know, if you're a thief doing thiefy things, you will have 2 dice. If you're a thief doing thiefy things in an area that you've studied carefully, because you knew you were going to thief that place that night, for instance. Let's say you are breaking into a house, you're robbing a noble manor, and you cased the joint the day before, you'd get the 3rd die. But that's it. It's a very simple system, and it doesn't have any like hit points or combat or anything, so we're going to immediately have to start house ruling this. But let's first get a party of characters. So I think I want like a classic like fighter fighter, magic user, thief, and cleric party. That's a good set of all-rounders to go into a dungeon with. So let's see. So we have to choose we'll come up with the names in a moment. Names are very important, of course. Let me find my name book. Which for some reason I did not have open beforehand, and this is probably going to pop up a order number and name, so let's just preemptively block this out. I will resize this obnoxious grey box appropriately. Oh, it doesn't have my name and order number, and that's very, very nice. Sorry, let's get rid of that then. Yes, I'll be using the Nomicon for names, and the dungeon is The Hole in the Oak by Gavin Norman of Dolmenwood and Old School Essentials fame. As I said, I've not played or run this dungeon. That's kind of why I picked it. It's like a sizable dungeon, as you can see from the map, which I think would be good to explore, but I don't really know anything about it beyond... I know people have sometimes put it in Dolmenwood, and I know other people have said that it doesn't really tonally fit with Dolmenwood. That's basically everything I know. So we will be discovering this together. Obviously, because I have this map here, I know where all the secret doors and stuff are. So not exactly going in completely blind, but partially. Right, so we need a fighter. I think our fighter is going to be brave. Let's go for a very noble, heroic party, perhaps. I don't really need like multiple points here, so let's just see. We got So-and-so, a brave fighter. His skill is going to be... so a high number means you're better at sword, because you want to roll under for doing swordy things. And a low number means you're better at sorcery, because you want to roll above for sorcerous things. I think I'm going to go for 5. So this guy, our fighter, is very good at violence and strength, but absolutely useless at anything intellectual. We need a thief. Actually, let's put our magic user in first. So our magic user is going to be... cunning. Or is cunning maybe a more thiefy aspect? Studious. I think studious is a good thing for a magic user to be. And this person is going to be... let's go to the opposite extreme. They are very good at sorcery, very bad at physical things. We have our thief, who is... perceptive. No, cunning, that's what I just said, yeah. Cunning thief. Let's put them as slightly on the high end, so I'll put them at a 4. They are better at physical things than magical things. And we need a cleric, who is wise, possibly. Superstitious. That's kind of an interesting one. Yeah, let's go superstitious. And this person is going to have... give them a 3, so they're right in the middle. They're equally good at magic and fighting. And now let's come up with some names for these guys. So, the Nomicon, we have different sorts of names. I use this in the very brief Legend in the Mist game. So you've seen this before on stream, but let's find something. So let's come up with the name of the god this cleric is dedicated to. Let's start with that first. Create a deity names, perfect. Okay, so we have short names or long names. Let's go for a long name. So this is 2 d20s. I'm glad I picked out all of my dice now, not just my d6s. So we have 17. Gakora. The Shaper. Is it Cora with an H or Cora without an H? Cleric of Gakora the Shaper, and now let's find some personal names. Let's see, we've got Anglish. It's just a big list of... I kind of want like one of the generators, not just a big list of names. What do we got here? Got Bretonian. Potentially. Oh, I guess, do I want any of these to be non-human? A dwarven cleric is a stereotype, right? So let's see, we've got 3 methods of generating dwarven names. We can... Okay. Okay, let's just roll a part 1 and a part 2 on table 8-1. Okay. $20. That must be the most dwarven name. Crow. Crow Azar. Okay. Crow Azar. It even sounds kind of the same because we've got the hyphenated aspect. So we have Crow Azar, the Dwarven cleric of Gakora the Shaper, who is superstitious. Just bold his role here. I think we could go for a human thief. So let's go for what's the Eurovision like? Sure, let's go for Eurovision. Okay, so this is a 2D 100 table. Yeah. Okay, 65. We have Po. Or Po. 84. Porialty. Porth. Parabola. Parabola. Parabola, the thief. That sounds like a female name. The ending. Parabola, human thief. Okay. We need a magic user. Magic users, I think, have more exciting names. Sadly, there isn't like a wizard name generator, but could be an elven magic user, I suppose. Let's see what we get for Bretonian. Okay, we have 58. That's a bunch of end names there. We have Gaelic endings. I see we have masculine and feminine names. I don't know. When you think of wizard, you think of a man with a long beard. So let's go with a male wizard. So 58, we have Ku or Ne or Eu. And for the ending, we have 46, which is Chan, Laku, Nertak. I think Nertak is a good ending. Ku Nertak. Nenertak. Right, we have our magic user. Let's actually reformat this a little bit. I think Crow Azar is my favorite so far, but it is a very cool name. All right, so we have Nenatak, our human magic user, Parabola, our human thief, Crow Azar, our dwarven cleric, and we now need a fighter name. I think I'm going to go for the Eurovision names again for our fighter. So our fighter and our thief are humans from the same culture. Nenatak is maybe from a different place because all the best sorcerers are from far away. And then Crow Azar is just someone they picked up in a tavern. Okay, we have 39 and 40. So could be G. Girial. Okay, here's our party of heroes. We have Girial, the human fighter, who is brave and is very good at sword. So to do physical things, like to attack with his weapon and whatnot, Girial will need to roll a 5 or less on a d6. We have Nenatak, our human magic user. He is very studious. He needs to roll a 2 or above to do magic things. We have Parabola, our human thief. Very cunning, needs to roll a 4 or below to do physical things. And a 4 or above to do, magical things. All characters can attempt to do physical or magical things. And we have Crow as our dwarven cleric, who is kind of equally magical and equally physical, which I think fits the kind of warrior cleric archetype we have in D&D. Okay, so we have styles, we have roles, we have numbers, we have names. You have a cool clothing accessory. Okay. A cool clothing accessory, a trinket, and a weapon. Okay. So I think Jiriel's weapon is he has a very big two-handed sword. I'm actually kind of picturing like a Conan type figure, but rather than like a knight in shining armor. I think his personal trinket is he has like a gold locket or necklace or amulet or something that's like a family heirloom. And a cool clothing accessory. He's got a red cape. Okay, Nen attack. A weapon. He has a sacrificial dagger. Sounds kind of evil. But if I call it a ritual dagger, that sounds much less evil. Curved. Oh, where's my... There we go. Curved ritual dagger. His accessory is... his trinket is a spellbook. And he wears arcane robes. And we have Parabola. Parabola has a... a regular dagger for stabbing. None of this silly ritual dagger stuff. Just a normal, regular stabbing dagger. She has some thieves' tools. Actually, thieves' tools are always very vague. What are thieves' tools? We have lockpicks. And cool clothes. Got like grey like loose flowing clothes to kind of, you know, not have like a solid human shaped silhouette, and to kind of be hard to see in shadow. Grey billowing clothes. Finally, we have Crow as our dwarven cleric of Gakora the Shaper. I think he has either a warhammer or a battle axe. They're both a very dwarven weapon. Let's go with a battle axe. Some clerics are not allowed to shed blood. The clerics of Gakora are not weak in that way. So he has a battle axe. He has a holy symbol of Gakora. Which I think looks like a bisected circle thing, and you like hold it at the bottom. And a third thing, I think he has like full actually, would he have plate mail? I feel like chain mail is more dwarven. Or maybe like chainmail with like plates bolted onto it. So terrible art incoming, but you know, like the front part of the mail. Oh my god, that's terrible. So you got like the front part of the mail here, like over the chest, and then you've got like the chain kind of going around the side. And then like another plate on the back. So you're like flexible and can move around the sides, and your arms have good motion. But it's like if someone's going to stab you, it hits a big solid plate of metal. Call it dwarven mail. Okay, right. that's our characters set up. So we can establish goals and stuff. So our player goal is to get your character involved in adventures and try to make the best of them. The character goal is to do something in world, like become a legend or meet new people or kill bad guys or whatever. But this is just a one shot. Their goal is whatever their goal is brought them here to explore this dungeon, and my player goal is to explore the dungeon. So the rules: rolling the dice. When you do something risky, roll 1d6 to find out how it goes. Roll +1 die if you're prepared, and +1 die if you're an expert. Roll your dice, compare each die result to your number. So I think everyone is an expert in their niche. So if Jural, the fighter, is doing something fighting related, he's going to roll 2 dice. If he's doing something magic related, he's not an expert in that, so he's just going to roll 1 die. So Jural is going to be very good at fighting, Nenatak is going to be very good at magic, Parabola is better at fighting but can kind of get by in magic, and Crow Azar is kind of equally good at both. Which is how I think the classes typically break down. Then, if you're rolling sword, you want to roll under your number. If you're rolling sorcery, you want to roll over your number. If you don't get any successes, it goes wrong. If you get 1 success, you get a success at a cost. If you have 2 successes, you do it. And if you have 3 successes, you get a critical success. If you roll your number exactly, so if Jural is fighting someone and rolls a 5, that is his number exactly, he gets sword and sorcery. You get a special insight into what is going on. Ask the GM a question and they'll answer you honestly. And this is good because this is like my get out of jail free card for metagaming. And yes, a roll of sword and sorcery counts as a success. There is another rule for helping. So if you can do something to help someone, you can make a roll for that thing, and then the other person will get a bonus die. But that's it. That's the rules of the game. There is a little bit about how to generate an adventure and how to run the game, but it's very brief because it's just a 1-page RPG. But just for the fun of it, let's roll up a situation which we can somehow fit this dungeon into. That's a lot of 1s. Let's have some more variety in our numbers. Okay, so a rogue company wants to summon or awaken the Witch Queen, which will raise taxes. Okay. I feel like that's not such a. I mean, it's a bad outcome, but compared to the other options, like enslave humanity, it's not that bad. Maybe these taxes are to fund the Cosmic Terror unleashing ritual. I don't know. Okay, so I think we can get to our dungeon. And right, so as I said, I've not read this before. I've intentionally not read this because I've had the dungeon for a while. I've always thought maybe I'll use it for a one-shot or bring it into a campaign or something, but never really got around to it. And then when I had the idea of running it with running a dungeon with sword and sorcery, I thought I'll go for Hole in the Oak because I've not read it. So we'll be discovering this together. Though we already are somewhat spoiled by having the full map. So random happenings, 1 in 6 chance per turn. Okay. I'm gonna keep track of time super closely. Random encounter per turn is quite convenient. Very easy to keep track of. So 1 in 6 chance per turn. If that happens, we have this D20 table. I'm not going to read the table now. We will just see what happens. And we have special thing for the Hunter in Area 13. Okay, don't know what that is. We'll find out. I like this. The Hole in the Oak, an expedition into the mythic underworld. What a dapper-looking sheep man. I can only dream of being that stylish. Okay, the Hole in the Oak presents a low-level adventure location in the classic vein, a small section of the mythic underworld, where the logic of the surface world recedes and magic and monsters abound. I'm just going to take a brief tangent here, which is that I'm not really a fan of the whole mythic underworld thing. So, if you're unfamiliar with it, the idea is that dungeons, dungeons inherently are kind of stupid concepts, right? Like no one would really make like a D&D style dungeon just doesn't make sense in reality. Like, how do you ventilate it? Why do people build these things rather than building above ground fortifications? Why are there like random monsters all over the place? Why are there just piles of treasure? Why are there weird magic artifacts and things? They're just very strange spaces that are obviously, they're obviously spaces to play a game in, and it's hard to justify them in universe. So why someone actually do this? And so a school of thought that has arisen is called the mythic underworld, which is that the rules of the world change when you go below ground. And this is, not inherently bad, but where people kind of take it is that means that things can just be kind of gonzo below ground. There's no need to attempt to have some sort of verisimilitude or like logic behind things, because it's the mythic underworld. It can be anything. Or people say, well, the mythic underworld hates you, and so like being underground for a long time causes worse and worse things to happen until you're eventually driven back out onto the surface. And I don't know. I don't really like personifying the dungeon in that way. But anyway, if that's what this is doing, that's what this is doing. It's fine. So this adventure is suitable for PCs of first and second level, though it is of course not balanced because it is an OSR dungeon. I have absolutely no idea how competent our characters are compared to like a typical D&D character, because I mean they don't even have hit points. So let's house rule that now. Let's decide how hit points work. Let's put this bit over here. I'll have some rulings, and I think for hit points, so the simplest approach would be like if you get hit, you just die. A skeleton is swinging a sword at you. What do? I roll to like parry the sword and stab the skeleton in the head. I fail. Well, that means the skeleton has stabbed me. But I think we'll go through characters pretty quickly in that case. I can always introduce more. But I think we probably want like 2 hits to be taken out. Maybe the first hit. Maybe something like that. So if you get hit twice in a row without like recovering in between, you die. So in this hypothetical skeleton situation, the skeleton's coming at us with a sword. We fail to like evade the blow or whatever, and so the skeleton knocks us to the ground, and we're now on the ground bleeding. The skeleton's standing over us with its sword. We need to roll to get out of the situation. If we fail that roll, the skeleton can just like stab us or something. I think that's fine. We'll probably need more rulings as we go, but we can figure it out. Yeah, as we go. Okay, so Let's see. The dungeon is located in the caverns beneath the Fnorm Forest. Tangled woodland rife with weird magic and strewn with ruined temples dedicated to beast gods in ancient times. Locate Fnorm Forest in any out-of-the-way location in your campaign world. Well, it doesn't really matter. A little bit of history. So, there's no overall owner of the dungeon. It was once inhabited by Bozzarar the Imperishable, a vainglorious wizard of no historical import. There are reptile cultists. The dungeon houses an abandoned lizard altar, which was once the upper shrine to a much larger temple complex. A cult of lizard men, giant reptiles, and human cultists once frequented this place. Finally, we have the Viridian League, a league of hunters and rangers, protectors of the Fnorm Forest, and historical foes of the reptile cults that plague the land. Hints at the ancient battle between the Viridian League and the reptile cults can be found in a few places in the dungeon. And the insignia of the Viridian League is a stag's head with ivy woven into the antlers. So this is a good way to kind of build up an interesting dungeon, is to have layers of history. When I talked a bit about Ardenvoul, I said that's one of the things that I really liked about it, and that it did really well. Because you could just, as we did on Saturday, we designed a dungeon, said it's the base of a particular person, they have had this thing constructed. But if you want your dungeon to be a bit more interesting, you can say, well, it's been around for a long time, and it was originally built by so-and-so, and then after they left, it was inhabited by such and such, and then time has passed, and another group has shown up, and so on and so forth. Maybe they were fighting between these different groups at different times. This makes things a bit more interesting. And we have some unsolved mysteries. And this is the kind of thing about the Mythic Underworld that I don't like. So it says, as this dungeon is part of the Mythic Underworld, not everything PCs may encounter is explained. Some things hint at deeper mysteries, while others are just weird. Should curious players wish to dig deeper into any of these unexplained facets of the dungeon, the referee should be ready to expand and elaborate, adding their own ideas to flesh out the mystery. Some examples of specific mysteries. Several large wooden chess pieces can be found. Do these serve some purpose? That doesn't seem too weird. Maybe someone who once liked chess lived here. But yeah, I just don't like if things are weird for weird's sake in a dungeon. I feel there should be some sense behind things. My game category is still just chatting. Let me fix that. There we go. Tabletop RPGs. Done. Okay. Anyway, we've got some factions. We have gnomes who dabble in evil magic. We have a ogre, fauns, troglodytes, and ghouls. We can come back to this if we need to. Underground river, we can't really swim in it. So okay. Got some rumors. Ooh, yeah. Let's see what we know about this place. Let's grab 2 rumors. Oh, it says it's 1 or more. Okay. Okay, a water dragon lairs in a great submerged cavern, and a mutant ogre guards a complex of slave pens and wizard experiments. Good to know. Dragon and mutant ogre. And there's random treasure we can find. Okay, cool. Okay, right. Let's get started. So, dungeon entrance. Room 1. Alright, what's our characters' names again? Jiriel, Nenatak, Parabola, and Crow Azar. They come traipsing through the forest. They are on a quest to this place because they have heard that it has some artifacts, perhaps, that will let them deal with this rogue company that wants to awaken the Witch Queen, who will raise taxes. And we've got like a treasure map or something that's led us to this place, and we've spent some time traipsing through the forest of Fnord. And here we are. So we arrive in an airy forest glade, and it has a dreamlike atmosphere. So I think there's like sparkles in the air. You can't quite see them if you focus at them. They're always in like the corner of your eye and your peripheral vision. It's very calming in here. It's very empty, other than this huge oak tree in the center, just this large clearing. And we know, because we have had a map that brought us to this place, that among the roots of this oak, there is a hole in the ground leading down into this buried complex. So let's make our first roll of the game. And I'm gonna move these guys down because I'm gonna need to keep referring to these like their skill numbers. So actually, there's no real chance of failure in this situation. If we know there's a hole in the oak, and we have time to just look around, then it's just gonna work. So we spend a little time searching, and we find this little hole. So let's say that Parabola like peers down, maybe climbs down the ladder a little. sees a shaft leading down 20 feet into a sandy floor. Oh, there isn't like an actual ladder. There is a natural ladder. Okay. And the roots, as you can kind of see on here, like spill down into the hole, and you can clamber down. So Parabola is going to climb down. Okay, characters without climbing have a 1 in 10 chance of falling. 1 in 6 chance of wearing heavy armor. Characters with climbing skill have no chance of falling. So, first question of the game, I guess, is do we have a rope to help down the other characters? And I think this isn't really like a skill thing. I'm just going to call it a... I think it's pretty reasonable to have a rope when adventuring, like it's standard adventuring gear. So I'll just say there's a 4 in 6 chance they've got a rope with them. Okay, they have a rope. Let's just make a note of like inventory. So you have a rope. So Nenatak kind of scrambles, not Nenatak, Parabola kind of scrambles down and sees this like small round-ish like chamber beneath the oak tree. The corridor leading out to the northeast. These are 5-foot squares. So leading out 20 feet, and then we have it kind of intersects with it with another curving passageway. Let's see, there are jumbled hoof prints and boot prints down here. So it's quite busy, sees a lot of activity, and the prints kind of continue to this junction, it appears. So let's all clamber down. I think probably let's make some rolls. Why not? Rolling dice is fun. So I think probably only Parabola is an expert in climbing as the thief, but we do have a rope, so everyone's going to get a bonus die on this. So we have, and this is going to be a physical test. So you want to roll equal or under the numbers. So first, Jiriel climbs down easily. We have Nenatak. That is a sword and sorcery. Yes, this is the best results. So Nenatak has some sort of flash of insight as he is crawling down. Climbing down rather. Let's see what's nearby that he could maybe have some insight about. Let's have a quick look through the adjacent rooms. Maybe he hears a noise or something. Or okay, so I see over here, in this room 3, we have a faint green glow coming from the east. Maybe Nenatak just happens to catch like a glimpse of the green light, just kind of like reflecting up the tunnel, and so he knows there is something emitting lights off down to the east here, and so he will warn the others. There's something there. We are potentially not alone. And then Crow Azar climbing down. Easy. Okay, I should have a little token for the party. What's a cool font? There we go. P for party. That's really not very visible. Let's make it red. That's not very visible at all. Okay, let's just have a... Actually, I guess I can put a little background on it. Okay, there we go. P for party. We're down in room 1. I'd say probably it has taken a turn for everyone to clamber down and have a little look around this entrance room. So we shall roll our first random encounter check. And I'll just have the random encounters open over here. So it's 1 in 6 every turn. That's a 1. First random encounter in the first room of the dungeon. 15. 1d4 heretic gnomes on their way to the surface to forage for mushrooms and roots. Okay, are the heretic gnomes friendly or not? Small group of forest gnomes who were cast out of their community for dabbling in evil magic. Okay. It doesn't say they're evil gnomes, just they're gnomes who do evil magic. So maybe a reaction roll is appropriate here. But it's 1d4 of them, so let's see how many that is. 4. Okay, 4 gnomes. Let's see what their stat is. Ooh, hyperlink's nice. Gnomes. Do you have like a stat block of the gnomes? Oh, nice. What's the gnome got under his hat? Okay, so heretic gnomes are 3 feet tall. They have long noses and braided beards. Maybe Crow Azar should bond with them over beard style. They have earthy coloured flesh and rooty hair, pointy red felt hats, which they keep things under. They may be friendly to PCs, okay, but we'll try to capture them and sacrifice them to their evil tree stump god. Okay, but that's in Area 60, so that's way away from where we are, right? Where is Area 60? Way over here. Okay. So they're probably coming from the east, actually. Maybe. Let's see. Could they have come from the root faces? Is that a bad place to be? Okay, the root faces sound okay. So they probably did come from the east past the root faces. And we see these four gnomes arriving. Let's see, we've got names of these gnomes. Let's just quickly roll up some traits. And one gnome is mad. One gnome is mad, one gnome is weepy, one gnome is the leader of this little group, and one gnome is kind. Okay. I guess the gnome leader comes to the front of the group and addresses the party. I think we probably have Jiriel in front, as he is the brave fighter with his big sword and red cape. Let's see, may be friendly to PCs. Okay. So I guess we should have someone who's good at talking speak with them. I think we'll have Crow as our speak with them. He's, of a similar height to a gnome. He has a similar beard to a gnome, although I'm sure he would say his beard is much better. That feels like common ground to bond over. So we will have Jiriel standing there looking strong and silent. Crowzar will attempt to initiate friendly contacts with these gnomes, although he's not... I suppose clerics are trained in talking to people. Well, potentially. Clerics could be trained in talking to people. It depends on what sort of role they fulfill in this world. If he's the like crusading priest type who smashes people with a club first and asks questions later, maybe not. Yeah, let's give him 1 die on this. Okay. Oh no, that's good. That's good. I want to roll over because I'm doing a mental thing. So they kind of hit it off, I guess. Like we have there are as many of us as there are of them. We probably look about as tough. Maybe a bit more tough. So let's see. Maybe friendly to PCs, but we'll try to capture them and sacrifice them to their evil tree stump god. Okay, I think probably the gnomes invite us to come with them. So the encounter we got was that they were preparing to head out to hunt stuff, I think. Let's have a look at our encounter table again. On the way to the surface to forage for mushrooms and roots. I think they'd pass up mushrooms and roots to get some new sacrificial victims. So the gnomes will invite us to come with them. we got a good roll on the talking to them. So yeah, so they're not immediately hostile. Just wondering whether any of the characters would see fit to mistrust these gnomes. Because obviously I know that the gnomes are up to no good. So this is one of the problems of not using of using a system not designed for solo play to run a solo thing. The separation of character and player knowledge. How? Yeah, let's just go along with it. Let's say the gnomes are. We've made a good impression. The gnomes have made a good impression on us. Then locals of this place. We're here looking for some sort of treasure. Maybe maybe they say, oh yes, we know about that treasure thing you're looking for. Come with us. So let's follow the gnomes. So we're currently in room 1, and I imagine they will lead us. Probably to room. Is room 59 there, like base? Looks like it. Gnome Hall. Yep. Okay, room 59 is the gnome dining room. And then room 60 is the evil tree stump. Okay, let's have a quick skim through the rest of the gnome territory. I've got a yeah, so that's our dining room. We have the gnome leaders, Grim and Gribble, over here. Okay. There's a 2 in 6 chance of Grim and Gribble being present in the room, either sleeping or ritualistically decorating each other's naked bodies with twigs and mud. I hope we don't see that. Okay, and what is room 22? Is that where they would lead us? The Hall of Kings. Actually, I guess they wouldn't lead us through there because it is locked. They would presumably lead us to either room 36 or 51. Probably 51 because that's closest to the gnomes. Okay. Right, so the gnomes are going to lead us kind of like up here, down, up this way, and I guess they'll have some signal for we've brought sacrifices, come jump them, which will bring all the other gnomes running. But that's where they're going to lead us. Maybe we'll get into a fight along the way. Okay, off with the gnomes we go. So we head out down this like natural like tunnel. So it's not fully natural, but out there, and into this junction where there's a mixture of hoof prints and boot prints. Interesting. The walls are crawling with worms. I feel like they're probably glowing slightly, like bioluminescent. Moss is always a good thing to have. Let's see, so we can hear rushing water to the north. That's probably that'll be the river up there. And to the east, we have this green glow, which we saw previously. The gnomes, I'm sure, will reassure us that there is nothing to be concerned with here. Just watch out for the grabbing roots. Okay. So move into here, and then we move along to the grabbing roots. A sandy floor, still jumbled hoof prints and boot prints. I wonder what the hoof prints are. I guess we'll find out. A low tunnel, 6 feet high, so maybe the humans might be crouching a little bit. Blocks with roots. Okay, I guess. If it blocks with roots, is this the way they take us? I'm sure the gnomes have some sort of symbiotic arrangement with the roots here. So maybe the gnomes kind of get down, start to crawl through, and tell us if you get down low, like really close to the ground, and crawl, the roots will let you pass. So let's have everyone make a swords roll to see if they can like crawl beneath these roots. So I think this kind of I think Jiriel and Crow Azar, they're both Jiriel and Parabola. I think fighters and thieves, like crawling around, climbing things, whatnot. That's kind of it. That's kind of their jam. So they'll get the 2 dice. But our magic user Nenatak and our cleric Crow Azar will not get a bonus die on this. Okay, Jiriel does it just fine. Let's go for Parabola. Also fine. Then Nenatak. Nope. He gets caught in the roots. And Crow Azar. Oops. That's a 2. Makes it through. So most of the party makes it through, and then they hear a piteous wail from behind them. They turn to see that poor Nenatak has been trapped inside the roots. He was maybe... I mean, he's wearing these like nice arcane robes, maybe not wanting to just squirm his way across a muddy floor, and so he was trying to just like crouch down and walk through, but that did not work. So let's see, he's currently trapped in the roots. So you can apparently cut through them, or you can try to push through. I think he's probably just going to try to push through, maybe like waving around his dagger as he goes. But fails to do so. He's completely tangled up, so someone will have to come and save him. I think Jiriel will come and save him. But he is trapped there, and so that indicates a random item has been stolen from him. Okay. We've not really fleshed out their inventories. So he has a ritual dagger, a spellbook, and some robes, so presumably has other things on him as well. So let's just say that we're missing an item. So the next time we need something, we'll just say we don't have it. That Nenatak was carrying it and it is gone. Speaking of, we need a light source, but we would... we must have lit our light source before coming in here, so that's okay. We'll say that Crow Azar is carrying a lantern. But the next time that we need a new item, it's just going to be gone. It will have been sucked into the walls by the roots. I'm sure the gnomes just kind of like shrug. Say, well, bad luck next time. We proceed on to the root faces. Still a sandy floor, still got our hoof prints and boot prints. The roof is much higher now, 8 feet high. It is warm and humid. And from the east, in this large carrot-shaped room, we have a cool breeze and a stench of ammonia. And there are faces covering the walls and ceiling. They're all shapes and sizes, and they are covered in glowing green moss. They kind of speak in unison, some kind of like fungal overmind, welcoming the PCs, like welcome to the underworld, pay the toll, and receive wisdom. And I think the penalty for being grabbed by the roots is we're not going to have as much money as we want. So I think we can get like 1 rumor at most. Whereas it'll be nice to get more. So let's have one of our characters hand over a few coins to receive a hint. The gnomes wait impatiently and also somewhat worriedly. I think the gnomes are trying to hurry us on, actually, because if the faces give a hint about the gnomes being bad, then that would be bad for the gnomes. So we need a name for our gnome leader. Gnomes. Gnome names. 18. Grobe. Okay, Grobe is like rubbing his hands together and he's like, oh, come now. The faces, they speak lies, deception, as often as they speak truth. Let us not tarry. The goal of your quest lies within our halls. Be there in a matter of turns, because that's a totally an in-world measurement. But I want to hear what the faces have to say, so we'll hand over some coins, and we shall get face information number 3. The faces all speak in unison. Reptile worshippers dwelt here long ago. They entombed a great enemy guarded by his queens. Beware! I picture there's like a wooden kind of like hand thing just protruding out of the wall, like a kind of gnarled root in the shape of a hand that you just drop some coins in and they disappear into the wall. Grobe breathes a sigh of relief that we didn't get hint number 6. The gnomes are guardians of a secret god with great power. And ushers us on. I think let's have another random encounter roll. I'm not really tracking time super close there even at all. Just it feels like a turn's probably passed. Nope, no encounter. All right, we're now in room 33. What is this? Bat's Roost. Natural cavern, stench of ammonia, damp floor streaked with guano, and rocky pillars to the roof. Okay, the bats nest in the cavern roof. 100 normal bats. Okay. I think the gnomes will entreat us to be quiet. And it sounds like if we are quiet, we can proceed through just fine. So we'll move on. We'll stick to the wall. Keep going. And then over here, there's the sentry pillar. 3 in 6 chance of a gnome out here spying. So, yep, there's a gnome out here spying. I wonder if Parabola, our cunning thief, might notice a kind of knowing looks or whatever passing between the gnomes. I think this is a sorcery roll, as it's a kind of mental thing. But we've been around these gnomes for 10-15 minutes at this point, and they're kind of ushering us on deeper into the dungeon and don't want us to tarry. So I think it's reasonable Parabola could suspect something is up by now. That is a regular success. So yes, Parabola suspects something. Actually, no, that's a 4. That's Parabola's number exactly. That is a sword and sorcery. So, what questions can we ask with sword and sorcery? What are they really feeling? Who's behind this? How can I get them to such and such? Okay. I think Parabola is going to spot... maybe what happens is... so there's 4 gnomes with us. There's the leader in the front. I think they've probably split themselves into a guard group. So we've got 2 gnomes in the front and 2 behind, which has put Parabola a bit on edge. It's not great to be surrounded by potential enemies. And the gnomes at the back are just quietly talking to themselves. Grobe up front is trying to usher everyone on, and Parabola just sees a couple of suspicious glances and hears a gnome behind them say, let's see, so you can learn what's really going on here. So I think it has to be pretty explicit what we learn, beyond just suspicion. So Parabola hears the gnomes behind mention something about more victims for the stump. Maybe Parabola speaks Gnomish, which is how she heard about this. Yes, let's go for that. Speaks Gnomish. She's an 8th gnome on her great grandmother's side. You wouldn't know from looking at her. So Parabola, who speaks Gnomish, hears something about another sacrifice, or more sacrifices for the stump. And I'm sure we have like cool secret hand signals or something, and just like alerts Jiriel that something is maybe up with our friends here. They might not have our best interests at heart. So Jiriel, who is not very smart at all, he's he's very strong, but not very strong in the mind. More of a Gaston-like character, I guess. Yeah, that's it, Gaston. Just less creepy. It's like, so we're looking for the. So tell us, how come you gnomes have the? God, what was it? What was the bad thing that's happening? An evil queen, a witch queen was being awakened. How come you gnomes have the filter of immortality? The distillation of witchcraft, whatever. Some sort of magic potion that would wake up the witch queen. And the gnomes hurriedly start improvising, which completely fools Jiriel because he is as dumb as a brick, but will not fool Parabola, who is now wary and suspicious. And Parabola is going to suggest that they wait here for the gnomes to bring the thing to them. I mean, after all, we're heading deeper into the dungeon here. We don't know this place as well as the gnomes do. Surely they can understand that we're nervous about heading deeper into a place we're not too familiar with. Whereas the exit is pretty close. So, the gnomes, they could just go get the thing. We can, make payment here, whatever, and then everyone can go their separate ways. We'll have a bit of back and forth, and I think where we're going to arrive is fighting the gnomes, because I want to try out our dodgy HP house rule in this. So negotiations with the gnomes break down. We know as outsiders that there is a gnome hiding like behind here, another sentry. Our characters do not. They only know about the 4 gnomes with them, so they're going to try to, I think, break through the gnomes and hurry back towards the entrance, and then go in another direction. So let's see. Combat in this. Obviously, there isn't a combat system. I think we're not at the point of we want to kill these guys on sight. They've not been they're not actually being hostile. It's being a bit suspicious. So Jiriel is going to try to use his big 2-handed sword to knock out Grobe, whatever the leader of the gnomes was. I think he is prepared because Parabola has alerted him to the fact that something suspicious is going on, and he is an expert at this, so he will get to roll 3 dice. And he gets 2 dice as a success. So when Parabola kind of gives the signal, Jiriel just whips out his massive sword and smacks Grobe with the side of the blade, just sending him down on the ground, crunch. Crow Azar is going to go for one of the gnomes at the back. I don't think he is as prepared, but he is still a competent fighter. He will just about succeed, so that's only 1 die, which means a success with consequences, so maybe he does it. But he's in a risky position because there were two gnomes at the front and two at the back. So he manages to like knock back one of them, but the other one was a bit too fast and is like lunging forward with his dagger, and so Crowazar needs to try to evade this. And fails. So he's going to get stabbed and will go down. We've decided it takes 2 failures to die. So Crowazar is currently like bleeding from a bad cut and is on the ground. The gnome has a kind of good position here. We've got Parabola, who was also prepared, so she's going to probably. This is all happening at the same time, I suppose. So she doesn't know exactly that Crowazar's been stabbed yet. She's going to try to like knock over the other gnome at the front, kick him in the face or something, and also just about succeed. So I think she opens herself up to the one behind the pillar, or maybe the one behind the pillar. What happens is she. I think Nenathak isn't doing anything. He's not really prepared. So I think what happens is Parabola gives the signal that we need to get out of here right now. Jiriel whips out his sword and smacks Grobe in the side of the head. It's like knocking him out. Parabola lunges forward for the other gnome, the nameless gnome, up front to like kick him in the face or something, knock him back so they can turn and run. As she does that, she sees that there is a 5th gnome kind of hiding behind this pillar here, like watching what's going on. And before she can react, that one just like takes off to the north, like yelling for backup. So that's the complication there. And Crowazar, he kind of reacts like maybe like a moment late. He knocks back one of the gnomes behind them, but the other one knocks him to the ground. And so the situation now is there is only one gnome up, and he is standing over Crowazar with a knife. Crowazar is going to attempt to roll out of the way and miss. I guess he just gets stabbed. I said 2 failures is it, so Crowazar maybe tries to like sweep this guy's leg, but the gnome, as gnomes are known to be super athletic, like jumps over his leg and like brings the knife down into Crowazar's throat, who dies. Let's cross Crowazar out. We need a name for this gnome if he has slain a player character. That makes him important. Grim. Appropriate name. Grim the gnome. The rest of the group. Jiriel is then going to try to kill Grim. And succeed. Very handily. He got a sword and sorcery there, so he just like beheads Grim. And I think the consequence of the gnome kind of running off to alert the others is that they cannot try to bring Crowazar back from the dead. If they were to stay and try to get him back, like magically resurrect him or whatever, they would be swarmed by gnomes. So they just have to run. Which brings us back to the route faces. So we have to roll to get through here quickly. I guess there's they have 2 possible routes. They could go north or they could go back to the entrance. I'm going to say they go back to the entrance because they're not going to head off in a direction where they don't know what it is. So I've got to get through the like grabbing roots, whatever they're called. Grabbing roots, yep. think as they run through the root faces, and the root faces just starts chanting, 3, 3, 3, only 3, only 3. We make our way to the grabbing roots. Jiriel dives onto the floor, scrambling through. Actually, since I've already all done this once, I'll also give him a bonus die. Makes it through. Nen attack. Does not make it through. He gets stuck again. He's going to lose something else. Parabola. Makes it through. I think I'm going to say Nen attack loses his dagger now. So he gets caught in the roots again and like cuts his way free, but loses his dagger in the process. And they all make it back to the entrance and like scramble up onto the surface, where they hide out for a bit. Okay, we've lost one character so far. We've lost one character, and the gnomes are now actively hunting us. So I think I'll say if we get a random encounter, like from now on, random encounters is like a 50-50 chance of a gnome hunting party. But I think we wait out long enough for the heat to die down, like no immediate pursuit, and to mourn the loss of Crow Azar, who I picked a cleric because I don't know if there's undead here, but I figured it's good to have a cleric just in case there is undead. But we still got a magic user, so maybe it's fine. We've learned a valuable lesson that we cannot trust anyone down in this dungeon, because even someone who seems friendly might try to kill us. So after a while, we head back down into the dungeon. I'm going to head north this time. A triggered illusion. Okay, so there's lots of prints to the like southeast, but to the northwest it is empty. There is a distant rushing sound like flowing water. And as we move down, the phantasmal form of a white-whiskered, purple-robed wizard appears. Like over here at the entrance to this chamber. He gestures benevolently and utters the following phrase: "Welcome to the realm of the imperishable. Please await in the provided. For your own safety, do not." And then the illusion disappears. Please keep your arms and legs inside the dungeon at all times. Not sure there's anything to do here. I could imagine Jiriel, who is as dumb as a rock, asking Nanatak if this thing is dangerous, but I think Nanatak just knows an illusion when he sees one. Don't even need to roll for that. But maybe I could do some sorcery here. Maybe I could like scry to see what's going on. I don't really want to like trivialize it by saying I can just like scry random location in the dungeon though. Yeah, let's keep his magic's like level 1 D&D spells, that sort of thing. So he's got like a hand raised and poised, ready to cast magic missile or whatever. And let's have, since there's something interesting here, let's have Parabola try to like sneak up and like just scout out the few rooms around here unseen. So like go up to this round room and look in all the directions, kind of see where these corridors go. So let's roll for sneaking. That is a success with sword and sorcery. So Parabola, she is wrapped in her grey billowing clothes, so she's hard to see in the dark. She creeps up and like peers into this round room, which Let's see, it has a patterned rug with geometric patterns on it. I guess, so it says anyone who steps into the circle is teleported. I guess then, like, the dungeon denizens presumably know about it. Where are you teleported to? Teleported to Area 35, which is over here. Okay. I mean, I guess that the dungeon denizens may not know about it because there aren't any footsteps over here. So just looks like an undisturbed rug, but no less disturbed than anything else. But she's going to look through the exit, so she's not just going to stride across the center of the room. So I guess let's go around to the east first and like peer down this corridor. What do we see? We see a statue, okay, of a hunter and a hound. Looking to the north, we see a corridor that kind of goes on a little way. Creeping along this corridor. Actually, I guess we pierce it off. We can see the corridor with some closed doors on either side. And then coming around finally to this side. Is the door closed? The door looks closed. So she's going to listen at the door. So I'll roll this into the success I got on the roll. So she'll listen at the door, not hear anything, and so carefully peer inside and see a small room with dozens of tiny jars with small people inside. Very odd. The room presumably smells quite badly of vinegar, as there is a bottle half full of old wine, now potent vinegar. But otherwise, it looks like a reasonably safe room, I guess. Nothing else going on in here, so she'll come back, report this. There's corridors heading off to the north and east, and a little room to the west. What should we do? Let's go in and let's start by checking out the west room. And we have no reason to specifically avoid the rug, which means we have a 2 in 6 chance of a random character stepping into the circle and being teleported. So let's just roll that. Someone is teleported. Okay, who is it? Actually, I feel it's not going to be Parabolus. Let's just roll a... let's roll the d6. Odds are going to be Jiriel, even if it's going to be Nenatak. Jiriel. Okay. Jiriel walks into the center of the room like the meathead he is, sets foot on the rug, and disappears. We will come back to Jiriel later. Nenatak and Probla obviously see this, and I think what they're going to do is Probla will check out the small room while Nenatak attempts to use magic to determine what happened to Jiriel. So he is going to sorcery, and she is going to... searching is probably mental. Although it's a room. There's nothing like magically hidden in this tiny room, so just going through it will find everything. So yes, let's have Nenatak magically attempt to study the circle. Thinking 2 dice for this, so he is an expert at this, which is why he gets a second die. I don't think he's prepared though, because he's kind of doing this like right now immediately. He hasn't had time to study things. He needs an immediate answer. But that's still a complete success. So he's able to determine it is a short-range teleport to somewhere inside the dungeon. And I got a 2, which is a sword and sorcery, so I think you probably can tell it teleports to the southeast. So, you know, in the direction of like Gnome Land, which is not where they want to be. Meanwhile, Probler searches the room with the weird tiny people in glass jars and finds let's see. So there is a bottle which has some things hidden inside the neck of the bottle. Okay. So unless she opens the bottle, she's not going to discover those things. I think that's hidden enough to require a roll. Like, why would you open a bottle? Unless you're perhaps a raging alcoholic. I think this is a sorcery roll because it's a mental thing. So she failed. She does not find the hidden scrolls. And I think a turn has passed by now, so we should roll for another random encounter. Nope. Alright, so Jiriel has been teleported to the gnomes. Let's see what's going on with him. Actually, it's going to be dark in here. So what could he possibly determine? So it's a natural cavern, a sheer cliff face made of crumbling rock. So if he like feels around, he'll feel a sheer wall of rock behind him. And also like a wooden door directly behind him, I suppose. I think there's a pretty good chance that if Jiriel wanders around blindly, he's going to bump into gnomes here. So let's make a roll for him to see if he can determine if he even realizes he's in that room. No, this is only going to be one die, so I'll not look at that one, whatever that is. It's a mental roll, so he needed a 6. Okay, so he doesn't really know where he is. He knows he's in a place made of mud and rock, but that describes most of the dungeon they've seen so far. I think it's just 50-50 whether he goes north or south. Let's say 1 to 3 is north. Okay. So he places his hands on the wall and like maybe moves north a bit and moves south a bit. Finds the like corners, and it's at the north point where he starts like working his way along to the east, hoping to find a way out. Now, is there a gnome guard here? It says there's like a 50-50 chance. Yes. There is a gnome guard here. Okay, so Jiriel is going to be jumped by a gnome in the dark. Because gnomes have dark vision. Is this even worth a roll, or does he just get hit? I think he probably just... No, he is very good at sword. He has, like, good instincts. So I guess he'll get... Maybe he'll hear, like, the gnome's foot scuff against the mud just before he leaps. Or he'll hear the blade swishing through the air. No, he does not. Okay, so he's kind of, like, creeping along. He thinks, okay, I'm getting somewhere. And then he just feels like a small form like leap on his back and start like jabbing him with a knife. He goes down, and now they're like on the ground in the dark wrestling. I feel he's actually in a better situation now because he has a target he can feel. So he's gonna try to like roll over like on top of this guy and like grab the knife or whatever. He doesn't really know what's happening. Feels like a child with a knife is on his back. And he does that. He rolls over and knocks the knife out of this potential child's hand, and is like holding him down. And I think he probably like, "Who are you? Where am I?" And the gnome probably just yells, "They're back! They're back!" And will try to scamper away. Can Jiriel hold on to the gnome? He can. Okay. But he's in a bad situation now. I think we'll do one more thing with Jiriel, and then maybe the party. This is all happening while they're examining the magic circle. So the party, or rather Jiriel, he's probably got turned around in the fight. Is he going to run in the right direction? Let's make this a mental check. No. Okay. He just gets he chucks the gnomes to the ground, leaps his feet, and runs off in a random direction. The party at this point, I think, have finished examining these rooms here, so they know that the rug teleported Jiriel somewhere to the southeast, and I think Nenetak got a good roll, so he probably knows it's like a safe teleporter to go through. Although, of course, the destination might be dangerous, so they're probably just going to step through the teleporter. So they step through the teleporter, appear back here with light. So Jiriel will see this light appear. I guess there's like rocks and stuff in the way, actually. So let's have Parabola make a roll to spot Jiriel. Okay. They spot Jiriel. And they spot like gnomes beginning to pour out of this corridor. How many gnomes are there? There are 20 gnomes. Okay, so sees gnomes begin to pour out of this corridor to the north, and they don't have, well, they have some doors here they could go through. They don't know where the doors go. Running all the way back this way is tricky because they're going to have to run past the gnomes. I think maybe going through the doors is their best bet. So there are 3 doors. One of them would be a bad door to go to. I don't think they have time to like make a clever decision, so I'm just gonna roll to see which door they go through. Top door. Okay, so Parabola is like, Jiriel, this way, and runs the door, yanks it open. They pour through into room 42. A crawl way. So a natural cavern 3 feet high with it has slimy ground that is slick with lizard blood. Interesting. So this looks like a bad place to be, but it is where they have gone. Let's see, so we have 5 eagles to the south. I guess they're going to be visible as they're not very far. Okay. Yes, down here we have 7 giant 5 beetles devouring a giant lizard corpse. They are scuttling all over it and clicking. So we can hear like a clicking noise from the south, which doesn't sound very nice at all. Oh, I was looking at the wrong room. 41 is the crawlway. 42 is where we are. This is a dripping grotto. Natural cavern 10 feet high, which has a profusion of scintillating stalactites dripping with moisture. And to the north, there is a distant rushing sound like wind or water. Okay, so we have to move through this room slowly. I think we're going to move like to the... Okay, so there's 2 options. We can move to the back of the room so that the gnomes will find it hard to get to us, and then we can maybe take them out. Or we can move to the north and be prepared to run. Can we see or hear anything to the north? Just the sound of water, I guess. I think we're going to move to the north. And the only ranged weapon we've got is Nenetak's magic. That was dumb. Someone should have brought a short bow. Oh well. Yes, okay, we'll move to the north. Gnomes will come pouring in, and now it is Nenetak's time to shine. Can he drive the gnomes off with like a fireball or something? So he has a 2 in magic, so he's very good at magic. Okay, not a perfect success, but a success. So he does get the fireball off. Like over here, blasting several gnomes, but there's going to be a bad side effects. Maybe it just triggers a random encounter because it's noisy. Yeah, let's go with that. So we have a 4 for a random encounter. A hideous gurgling laugh echoes through the dungeon. So we have potentially alerted something to our presence with our mighty magics. But the gnomes have fallen back, at least for now, as we have incinerated a few of them. So I think we're back to cautiously dungeoneering. We don't know the way out because this cave is basically a no-go area now. We can't stay here forever because the gnomes will come after us eventually. I think you have to like go north and find a way around. We do have the advantage of hearing the river to the north, so we know that this passageway is somehow connected to like this passageway. So let's go north. So we shall creep forth into room 43. The natural cavern has irregular holes and crevices in the walls, just large enough for an arm or a hand to reach into. I don't think I want to do that. That sounds risky and also gross. So we proceed to the north, and then we see some branches. So we have this passageway going off to the west. We'll have Parabola. We'll have Parabola sneak up and check out these rooms. Do we have any lights up here? No. But the lizards possibly know that we're present. Yes, the lizards have 90 feet of infravision, so the lizards up here are well aware of us. And they look quite tough. We've got some black skeletons as well. What are the black skeletons? Oh, right. Okay, black skeletons. Right. Okay, so lizards know about us. I think lizards are probably going to come and eat us. Let's make an encounter roll for the lizards. Like a reaction roll, rather. That's neutral. Okay, so the lizards are not going to charge out into the corridor to come eat us, but they probably will if we enter the lizard shrine. Right, let's have our thief sneak up and peer down some corridors. That's 2 successes, so we'll get to see roughly what's in these rooms. So 44 is the lizard's den. Okay. We have giant eggs and a 2 in 6 chance of lizards. Let's see. No lizards, just eggs. Creeping up and looking down. I guess when we creep up here, we see there are lizards. Then looking down this passageway, a slimy vestibule. I guess we can also hear the sound of the river from this corridor as well because it connects up. So I keep forgetting the characters' names. Parabola will come back and say that the first corridor is a dead end. To the north, there are like several giant lizards. But then the second corridor looks like it might lead somewhere. Also, I said that the characters came to this dungeon because they were looking for an artifact that they'd heard a rumor is here. So I should roll for a room that it is in. So let's see. I'll just roll on a D100, I suppose. There are 60 rooms. Let's re-roll that. 80. Room 38 is where our thing is going to be. So let's just put a marker on that. That's not a very big marker. Let's put some text on here. The goal. I don't think we know like where this goal is, just that it's somewhere in the dungeon. Okay, yes, we're in here, so I guess we will go down this corridor. I think enough time has passed for another random encounter check. Nope. Okay, so we creep along the corridor to room 45, the slimy vestibule. It has green tile. It is slick with algae. And there are traces of lettering in a band around the room. I'm curious about this lettering. Let's clear the slimy lettering. And it says, "Pray for the benediction of Keswick. The blessed may pass the fall and come to the deep shrine." I will bear that in mind. So then proceeding from there, we can look to the north and we see the river, a little like sandy beach by it. I wonder if there are any gnomes coming up this way, because the gnome saws go through that door. They might come around to ambush us. But the gnomes will also presumably know about the lizards and the fire beetles, who are threats. So let's just say a 2 in 6 chance of gnomes. Yeah. No gnomes. Okay. And can we I think we can probably infer that south probably leads back to gnome territory. Yeah, I think we can safely infer that, because we know that this corridor here leads to gnome territory, and this one is like, we know that gnome territory kind of begins on this line somewhere. So yes, I think we can infer that door probably leads to gnomes. But let's go listen at the door, actually. That's a thiefy thing to do. I think that's a success. Yep, Parabola listens at the door. And here's gnomes. Okay, we've got that confirmed now. What room is there? The fishing store. Peeking through the north door, watching for lizards. Ooh, okay. I don't just want to say that I am seen, because then that's not a partial success. That's just a failure. So I think Parabola goes to the door, listens, and hears the sounds of the guards like returning and heading towards the door. So she scurries back, and we all like duck back into this room here just before the guards get the door open. Like Parabola's like peering down and sees the door like open a crack. And now we know that we'll need to like sneak to get by this place. I think we need to get to the beach really to have a look. So we know there's a river up there, a fast river, but we don't know if there's anything else. So I think it's up to Parabola again, to creep up north without being spotted by these guards and see what is going on. 5 and 6. That's a complete failure. Okay, Parabola is spotted by the gnome guards. There are 3 gnome guards. And I think she realizes she's been spotted. She's good at what she does. So she knows she's been spotted, and so the alarm is going to be raised. Again, what can we do? Can we kill 3 gnome guards like in an instant? Bit tricky. But it would lead us closer to our goal. So that's an argument maybe for recklessly charging in and attacking the guards. I think she realizes she spots herself like creeping out. I'm miming creeping out in reality, but of course you can't see me doing that. Just imagine like a stereotypical like cartoon character sneaking. Um, she starts creeping out, realizes she's spotted, and she like turns back and like stage whispers, "They've seen me! Fireball them!" Let's see if Nanatak can do that. I'm inclined to only roll one die here because he's doing this like in a rush. Oh, but he does it. So Nenatak like leans around the corner, like points like a finger gun, and a ball of fire shoots out and like slams into. Well, it's only one die, so it is still only a partial success. Gets in there like it gets in there like blows up, and probably takes out those guards. But the consequence, so it can't just be that the alarm is raised, because then we're back in exactly the same position. I think it's that we've got to move like now before something happens. Or maybe we have like enough time to go up and like see, is there a door in the south of their room 55? I don't think there is. Let's have a look at my like high resolution referee map, which is not the one I'm using on Miro because for some reason it doesn't have the room numbers. No, there isn't a door to the south there. I think we probably have time to like run through the room, and that's it. Or we could go north onto the beach. Okay, I think what we can do is we can run up and like barricade this door. So let's say the door's been like blown open by the fireball. We can sprint up and Jiriel like grab a crate or something and like pull it out, and we'll slam the door shut and put the crate there. We'll say that the door opens like outward into the corridor, so we can actually shut it from this side, and they'll have to like dismantle the door to get through. Okay, he does that. So we'll get a quick glimpse in the room. We see that it is a storeroom. Yeah, we'll just sort of grab some crates. I'm sure there'll be something, and like block this door. So let's put a note. Blocked. Meanwhile, we'll have to go north onto the beach and hope we find something useful there. So what do we see on the beach? Fishing bay. There's a 2 in 6 chance of a gnome sitting here quietly fishing. No. Okay, so we get onto the beach and we look and we see this super fast flowing river. It has nets strewn out. Looking to the right, there is a chance of a lizard there fishing. There is a lizard fishing. Okay, so we just see, what is it, 1d4 of them? One lizard. Just like on the edge, like head poised over the river, ready to go. Tongue flickering. Occasionally like dart out. It probably gives like the side eyes we come out, but keeps his attention on the river song as we're not getting close. We got this passage. We got this thing over here, room 30. Is that like a bridge? What is that? It is a bridge. Okay, so we can see there's a bridge. What is this, like 10, 15 feet along the river? Which direction is the river flowing, actually? I think it's flowing to the east just from how this waterfall is drawn. But I'm going to go back to the beginning of the module and see if it says. See, river. Underground river. It flows from west to east. Okay, cool. And also, I think it's time for another random encounter check. Nope. There's a 1 in 6 chance every turn. Okay, so the river is cold and fast-moving, making it dangerous to swim in. Characters have a 1 in 20 chance of drowning per round. Swimming upstream requires a successful strength check each round. So even getting the 15 feet to the bridge is going to be tough, and I think that's where we need to go. Let's see, do we have a grappling hook? So I said the item missing was some coins for the faces. Honestly, that was kind of get out of jail free thing. I'm going to say that the item we're missing is the grappling hook. So we do not have a grappling hook on us. So what can we do to get to a bridge? So we've got our rope. I wonder if someone could maybe like climb along the wall here. Let's look at the description of the river. Like, how high is the ceiling? Okay. River, natural cavern, 12 feet high. Okay. Okay, so it sounds like the river is traversable by climbing along the walls. So I think that's what our thief is going to do, and failure here I think probably means falling into the river, being swept away to your death. Or, well, I guess there's the fishing nets here. So we will have Jiriel hold onto a fishing net and, like, brace himself. And then we'll have Parabola start, like, cautiously climbing along the edge of the wall. So, got a 1 and a 5. Okay, that's a partial success. Partial success. Or, well, success with complication. Let's see if there's anything dangerous in, like, room 31 that could do something here. No, not really. I think she just gets, like, injured in the crossing, and so rather than 2 hits to take her down, it's going to be 1 hit. So next time she is, like, significantly hurt, like, attacked successfully by an enemy, or like, hit by some environmental thing, she will just die. But she does make it over here and, like, tosses the rope back. And then, I guess to get up there, we're, like, wading through a river. A fast-moving river. I guess we can just do that. It'll just take a bit of time, but we make it across. So now on the bridge, we've got north and south to go. Yes, we can see there's something over here. What is room 29? That, like, spans the river. Oh, it's maybe, like, built above the river. Yeah, because we've got a staircase leading up to it. Okay, so we maybe can't see room 29 from here, actually. Okay, I think we know that generally we need to go southwest to get out. We're also still hoping to find our goal, which is here in room 38. Which is actually a direction we don't want to move in generally, because we know there's gnomes there. That will be tough to encounter. But let's see. I guess we'll probably start with north because it's just open passageway. There's no door there. Should go north, and we see stone walls, statues of ancient queens, slimy algae covering everything. Okay, and there's a secret door here. I know there's a secret door. The characters do not know there's a secret door. I've not been rolling to check for secret doors in every single room, so it is a bit metagamey to only check when there's a secret door there. But maybe my thief, maybe something about the room will set off her secret door sense. So sure, let's do it. I think this is going to be a mental roll, so I want to roll above. Okay, she does not spot the secret door there. So I shall indicate this is unknown. So I have no reason to check for secret doors in this room unless I hear something that tells me otherwise. So we go down to the south. The door is locked. I have lockpicks though. And that's it's probably swords. It's a physical like dexterity thing. But I only got a partial success. I guess I break my lockpick, the standard lockpick, like success with consequences. Lockpick broken. Door unlocked. She'll cautiously open the door, and there's a shadow gardener in here. Interesting. So we see an earthen floor, but it is jet black soil, which is very strange. There are large black plants, black ivy, and black fruits. It's like stepping onto the set of the Addams Family. The Shadow Gardener hates warm-blooded creatures and will try to kill any who enter. It has surprise on a 1 to 5, so I should say it's going to surprise us. And can only be harmed by magic. Okay. So we're moving through the weird garden, and the shadow's just going to go for one of us. Let's roll randomly to see who it is. It is character number 2, Nenatak. Okay. He might arcanely sense something. I don't know. Okay, well, a dark, shadowy form looms up behind him, reaches out a dark, shadowy hand, and Nenatak is going to try to leap out of the way, I suppose. He's not trained in this. He gets struck by the shadow and feels the strength leaving his body. He is going to attempt to like repel it with his magic so they can make it to the door. That's a good success. Okay, so he repels the shadow but is weakened, and it says this recovers after 8 turns. So just keep a counter there. And if he gets a serious hit in the next 8 turns before that recovers, he will just die. But make it into this corridor, and I think it's time for a random encounter check. Nope. Okay. Room 27. Black fruits. Okay, so the garden kind of like spills out into the corridor. We'll make our way along there. Then we get to this junction. We have a passageway to the north, to the west. We should be able to see to the west. We see there a tree arch. The corpse of a dwarf sprawled upon the floor. Okay, and to the north, we see a very large room that is also all black. I think we probably don't want to go there. Ah, a giant bronze statue, a giant fat man in a benevolent posture, smiling and cross-legged. It's this one. It's him. It's the hole in the oak. And the evil tree babies. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think we want to get out of this weird garden area. The shadow might still pursue us. In fact, does it pursue? Why wouldn't it pursue us? Yeah, I think the shadow's probably pursuing us. So we magically repelled it, but we need to keep moving, get out of its domain. So we hurry up. Does someone notice? Yes. Yes. Okay. So we get up to the arch. Parabola notices that the dwarf corpse here, it has a black vine wrapped tightly around his throat. And it's kind of connected to the ivy. So we can't just walk through, but we're being pursued. I think it's time for Jiriel to hack at some ivy with his sword. And succeed. Okay, he hacks at the ivy, and we hurry through into this huge hall. The Hall of Kings. Out of the domain of the Weird Garden. Okay, there's a 2 in 6 chance of a troglodyte. Let's see. No troglodytes. So what do we got here? To the north, we have the sound of rushing water again. These statues are statues of ancient kings. We have doors leading to see, door to Area 25. Where is that? Where's 20? There's 25. I think we don't really want to go east. We have door to Area 26, so we'll just come through here. And Area 38, which is over here. Faint sounds of battle. Interesting. I think our goal is probably just to escape the dungeon. At this point, we've had 1 character die quite early on, and 2 are now on the verge of death. We've not found our goal yet, though. Let's just highlight where we've been in the dungeon. Like, how well have we actually explored this place? So we've been... Oh, that's not a very visible color at all. Let's go for dark gray. Right, so we've kind of checked out here, and like up here. Checked out here, here. Kind of peered down these corridors. We've been just thinking, like, if I were a character mapping this, or if I were a player mapping this and I was looking for a thing, what would I like, what gaps would be on my map? So I've kind of been in all of this room. We've then been up here and in here, here. We've not really checked out the lizard room. We saw that it exists. So we have explored a decent part of the dungeon, actually. Though there are obvious gaps that we've not checked out. Yeah, mostly in the like gnome areas. So, okay, so we've made it into the, what is this, the Hall of Kings. And let's see, if do we keep exploring or do we just retreat? Feel may as well check out a few more places on the way out. I think I want to check out like at least listen at all these doors. So yes, I've also got this room to highlight. Oh, the party icon is behind my highlighter. Let's move that out of the way first. Oh, why is that behind? Oh, bring to front. Okay, let's listen at all these doors. See what we hear, and we'll maybe peer through a few of them. So we'll start in the middle right. I think that's I think I've been treating listening as a mental thing, so that's a success. So we listen at door 25 here. I guess we see there's a faint light and rumbling snoring, so that doesn't sound like a good place to go. The next one. That's another success. We hear faint sounds of battle. Then the next one. Mixed success. So what do we hear? It doesn't say we hear anything, so I guess it just sounds quiet there. And then finally the other side. Actually, is that an arch or is that a door? Okay, so to the south, looking to the south, we see that there is the skeleton of a warrior lying on the ground in a pool of dried blood with a big like blade wound in her side. Okay. So that indicates we should not go to the south. That's the direction I was considering going. And then off in the other direction, don't hear anything down here either. So I think let's look up the north corridor and then maybe try down here. I don't really want to proceed towards sound, so I'm going to ignore these other two doors. But yeah, let's go check out the north. Okay, so it goes to the north. There is a door and another fishing spot. Are there any troglodytes here? No troglodytes here. There are chalk scrawlings across the walls which say "Feed the fists," plus wiped off smears of at least one more word. But yes, we just get back to the river again. We have this door here. Let's listen at the door. Okay, we hear something. Let's see, stone blocks, stench of fishy carrion, rusting chains hanging from the ceiling, decomposing fish bones. 3 troglodytes guzzling rotten fish. There is Old Greg, Nancy Fingers, and Tom Fool. They sound pretty loud, so I guess we hear them, yeah. Not really sure what a consequence could be here. So I'd say we hear stuff going on in there. You hear like eating and giggling and slurping. It sounds very awful, so we're not going to go in there. So let's go back and check out this door here. So we listened at it, we didn't hear anything, so let's just try going through. Right, so we head in, we get to a pair of statues. Fishmen. Oh, a fishman in the east and a mantis man in the west. They are weeping milky tears. There is a crossbow on the floor between them. That's kind of weird. And to the south, we can see an array of levers. I like levers. So we head down into the lever room. Metal floor. Nice. Big boulder in the west end of the room. Okay. Levers numbered 1 to 6, and a brass plaque on the south wall saying authorized personnel only. It then obviously tells me what the levers do. I do not have any way of knowing this in character, so I'm not going to look at that. I'm staring straight ahead. And do I want to pull levers? I'm kind of curious. I do enjoy pulling levers. Like, what are they there for if not to be pulled? Yeah, let's pull the levers. I'm just going to work through them from, like, 1 up to 6, and if nothing bad happens, I'll only stop if something bad happens. So lever 1. The floor of the room tilts suddenly, sending the giant... Oh, no. Tilts suddenly, sending the giant boulder rolling to the other end. All characters in the room must save versus 1 or suffer 2d6 damage. Okay. So I pull the first lever, the boulder starts rolling towards me, and also the floor shifts, so we kind of lose our footing. Let's make physical rolls for everyone. So Jiriel passes with flying colors. Nen attack dies. Parabola passes with flying colors. Okay, so Nen attack, because he was weakened, I said the next serious hit he took would be the last. Nen attack does not dodge out of the way of the boulder in time and is just like pinned against the wall. Nen attack, crushed by a boulder after being drained by a ghost. Okay, I think it's not worth exploring anymore. We should not pull more levers, we should head out. We head back into the room. Okay, so we have 2 routes we could possibly go. I think it is reasonable to infer that this passageway here will connect up to this here. Because, as we all know, adventurers all have perfect spatial awareness. And also keep perfect maps. We also have the south, which equally we can infer leads to that big cavern. But the big cavern is near the gnomes, and also to the south there is a dead body. So there seems to be some sort of trap. We've listened at this door and we didn't hear anything, so I think we're going to go for this door. So we shall fling the door open. Revealing a large archway that is carved in the form of 3 intertwining serpents, and in a big web just on this side of it, because it says behind the arch, is a giant spider. I think we can see it because we've come from the side which has the web. The spider can speak but not understand common. That's great. Okay. Jiriel will charge in with his sword, and Parabola will chuck a... Yeah, let's have Parabola throwing her dagger at it. Partial success. So I guess she knocks the spider onto the ground, but the dagger kind of goes like pinging off. The spider, it says, in combat it shrieks about sucking out innards. So the spider is knocked onto the ground, which I think will give Jiriel an easy time hitting it. And it starts, squeaking about eating people. But it doesn't understand common. This must be things it's heard from other people. It's kind of parroting. So it's actually crying about, like, don't eat me. Don't suck out my innards. Whatever you say when a spider is eating you. As it attacks people, which is a bit creepy. Okay, so Jiriel is attacking. Gets a good success. Let's see. Is this like a 1 or a 2 hit spider? It's probably a 2 hit spider because it's got 2 hit dice. So he runs up and gets a good hit in before it can kind of right itself, and he swings his sword for a second attack, and gets a partial success. So he dramatically bisects the spider while it's at the same instant it bites his leg, and he feels the poison begin to enter his blood, and knows it is only a matter of time. So now they have to really run to get out and, stick healing plants or whatever on his leg. Okay, so running, moving to room 13, which has the hunter, whatever that is. Statue of a hunter and 2 hounds. Huge mirrors on the north and south walls. Okay, if you look into a mirror, something bad happens. Honestly, I feel they're not going to look into the mirrors. They're running. They want to get out as quickly as they can. Let's say maybe there's like a 1 in 6 chance they look into a mirror. No. Okay. So they don't look into a mirror. If they don't awaken the hunter, they just keep going. Let's get into this corridor here, and let's have another random encounter check. Probably the last one. And we have a random encounter. 20. That's got to be a good one if it's number 20. Um, 1d4 plus 1 heretic gnomes carrying an unconscious gnome with a sack over her head to be sacrificed to the evil stump. Okay, maybe this happens like as we get down here. We basically bump into a band of gnomes escorting back a deserter. And the reason we bump into them is because we are hurrying to get out as quickly as we can. And it kind of makes sense. We encountered gnomes here at the beginning who are on their way out, and then we kind of distracted them. And now we've encountered gnomes returning, so maybe it's the same gnomes. Let's say it's the same gnomes. So we have Grome the gnome leading his band. And he wants to kill us, obviously. So I don't think we can fight off 5 gnomes. I think we have to kill the leader, and hopefully that will throw the gnomes into such a disarray that we can make it out. It's a double 6. Jiriel needs to roll a 5 or less. He completely whiffed that. Okay. So Jiriel is, I think he is a bit woozy because of the spider venom. So his sword strike goes wide. The gnomes see this and are like, Shelob got him. And Grome is going to try to stab Jiriel. I don't think this is going to be a one-hit kill. Okay, so Jiriel manages to, I think, evade the blow, but is off balance. So he's not going to be able to get like a serious strike in. Next, he's going to have to right himself. Parabola is also going to try to... She doesn't have her dagger anymore because it got lost with the spider. What's she going to do? She might just try to book it. Yeah, okay. She's going to try to like get around the group, I guess. Okay, so Parabola gets a partial success, so she gets by some of the gnomes and not all of them. Jiriel, I think, does manage to right himself, but he's now surrounded. He might be about to have a TPK as well as escaping the dungeon. So Parabola is going to try to... so she got by most of the gnomes, let's say, but not all of them. She's going to try to push her way by the last gnome and scramble up out of the hole in the oak. And does so perfectly. Okay, so she abandons Jiriel to his fate. Jiriel is going to try... I think he needs to like cut down 2 gnomes to get out. So he's going to try to cut someone down. And succeed. He needs to cut down a second person. He does so, but he gets stabbed in the side, so he is now bleeding out. And cannot make it up alone. I think he needs to be helped. So he's kind of like crawling up the slope, but there's still like 3 gnomes. Maybe 2, I guess, because they need to look after their prisoner. So I think he needs to roll to get out, and if he does not succeed this roll, the gnomes will drag him down and knock him out to take him off to be sacrificed. But he does make it out with kind of preternatural sense of space and presence. He is like climbing up woozily, but he draws his sword and like swings around and just like cuts a gnome like in half through the face. So we have our gnome here with a surprised expression on their face. The sword blade just goes like through them like this, like a Canadian character from South Park. The gnome falls back dead, but he makes it out, and I think that's the dungeon dealt with. So we lost two characters. We did not find our goal. We didn't get to the room where it was. If we did end up in this room, I was just going to say that they found the goal automatically. But they did not. They do know where they're not visited, so they could potentially return. So who did we lose? We lost Nenatak, our wizard, who was crushed by a boulder after being like level drained by a shadow, not a ghost. We lost Crow Azar, our dwarven cleric, right near the beginning. He was killed by some gnomes. But Jiriel, our fighter, survived. He had like one wound left before dying, and Parabola as well also had one wound, but they both made it out alive. But they'll presumably have to return to find their goal in the future. But for now, that is the dungeon. So, yeah, I'll step away for a couple of minutes, and then we will figure out what to do with the rest of the stream. Okay, I figured out part of what to do, at least for the rest of the stream. Um, Good suggestions though. So I thought it would be useful to start with reflecting on what was hard about soloing this dungeon with this very, very minimal rule system. So I think the main thing was separating player and character knowledge, because I'd not read the dungeon before, but obviously I still had the layout up, and I think this kind of manifested in 2 points in particular. First was when we encountered the gnomes, and I kind of rolled like a skill check to determine the reaction, and we had a good reaction with the gnomes. So that meant they weren't immediately hostile. They were like, "Hey, you should come to our base and hang out." That's because the gnomes are evil and want to sacrifice us. And then I kind of wrestled a bit with how do the characters get to notice that the gnomes are evil and want to sacrifice them? And ultimately, I just decided, well, maybe Probler, being a suspicious thief, should just get a roll to see if she notices something off. And similarly, when we had the secret door here, I was like, well, how do I know to roll? Like, how do the characters know to search for a secret door? And I kind of resolved it the same way. So I think probably you want, like for secrets, you kind of want to rely on like passive skills almost. So just make a like mental roll. Just make a mental roll. Like, the characters don't actively choose to search for secret doors or like actively try to suss out someone's motives. Just make a check, and if they fail, that's it. They don't get any information. Which is, of course, in contrast to, if you're running a dungeon for players, the players might look at the map and say, I think, based on the layouts of this, there's probably a secret door here, so I'm going to search for a secret door. It's kind of cutting off that side of things. Another problem, I think, was trying to decide like which direction to go when I had multiple directions to go in. Yeah, so that's a tricky thing with many games. Yeah, asking for the role gives away information. So I quite like, although a lot of people dislike, the more OSR approach of no perception checks. You just describe what you're looking at, and if you're looking at the right thing, you find the thing. That kind of eliminates the problem, but it introduces a new problem, which is, you say something like, you enter a room. There are frayed tapestries on the walls and like thick cracked flagstones covering the floor, and the players are immediately like, I lift up every single tapestry and like tap all the flagstones to see if any of them are hollow, and I go around like carefully knocking on the wall to hear for any suspicious voids or whatever, and that can be a bit tedious at times, but it does get rid of the perception check problem. Another thing is the way I generally run secret doors is, generally, if the players just search in the right place, in the place that a secret door is, I just give them the secret door. I don't actually roll for it, even though it is supposed to be a roll, at least in old school Essentials, and in many OSR systems. I just kind of figure if the character's spending like a turn searching in the right place, they're going to find the secret door, unless it's super well hidden. But yeah, no approach like perfectly solves the problem. But I guess in a solo game, just like treating it as like a passive perception role, kind of minimizes the necessary metagaming. I do wonder if maybe in solo games, just like generating dungeons works better than like playing on a map, because then you can't really metagame the layout because you don't know what the layout is. So something like the kind of small dungeon generation in Morkin, or the dungeon generation rules in like Iron Sworn, something like that. I think the dungeon generation rules um in Kernothalis are I guess what I felt the dungeons in Kernothalis were missing was like secret doors, or even just like corridors that connect to multiple rooms. Because like kind of by default as written, every door leads to a new place. Whereas I feel like dungeons need to have like loops and cycles in them. Otherwise they just kind of feel a bit weird. That was probably the main difficulty I had, really, like secrets. Whether it be detecting a character's motives or finding secret doors. I feel that the 2 hits to die kind of worked. Like if you get knocked down or severely injured, the next hit kills you. It did mean there wasn't really any attrition outside of the couple of cases where I decided a character got hurt in some lingering way. Make a tier list. Are tier lists cool anymore? Or are they just like lame? No, let's look at my list of RPGs. Let's see, what are the cool things worth mentioning here? Now, I don't have a huge number of solo games yet, actually. But let's see. Tier list maker. Here we go. Yes, I mean I could rank it's like all of my RPGs. But if I was just ranking solo ones, there wouldn't be that many. Yes, possibly in the future. Let's put that down as in my idea list. Okay, that is on the list. Yeah, you can't really compare solo RPGs with group RPGs. They're very different. I think it might be time to just wrap up stream, actually, because I've done the dungeon. Don't really have anything else planned. Um, let's see what's exciting and should be mentioned. So what's coming up this week? So on Friday, we're returning to I also have to really think about the name of this game for some reason. Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. I keep thinking it's Against 1,000 Dead Worlds, but that makes no sense. So yes, Friday we're returning to Across 1,000 Dead Worlds for proceeding further into this horrible space dungeon that we're exploring. On Saturday, I'll be playing some more Caves of Cud, and let's see. I guess general news. I have some things in the works to improve the stream. So one thing I'm looking into is maybe getting some like quiet dungeon synth, like ambient dungeon synth as background music, so it's not just completely quiet when I'm thinking. I'm waiting to hear back from some people about that. I have ideas for other changes, but I'll be a bit further down the line. And something exciting coming up is actually, has this been announced anywhere yet? I'll be participating in a thing in the first week of June. So I guess I will share more about that closer to the time. But that will be a disruption to the usual schedule. So things on Kickstarter or drive-through. I did back something on Kickstarter recently. I think it actually funded the other day. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Yes, here we go. So I backed this Innsmouth Lighthouse Keeper, which is some sort of spooky horror game about being a lighthouse keeper in Innsmouth, one of the kind of towns in H.P. Lovecraft's fiction. The setting of the story, The Shadow over Innsmouth, in which a man realizes he is descended from fish people, and it's kind of interesting because it says it's meant to be played over the course of 1 week. So it has 7 chapters, and the idea is you play 1 chapter per night. So I might play this in like real time on stream when I get the material. I don't know how long each chapter is, so it might not be like a full stream thing each time. It might be like a beginning of stream thing, and then we do something else. But yeah, interested in checking this out. I always enjoy cosmic horror things. But yes, it funded day before yesterday, so not got the PDFs yet. But when I do have this, I will definitely be playing it. And I think that's the only thing that I'm currently backing. I'm also aware of let's see, Draconim, which is a game about kind of training dragons. I've heard good things about it, but I'm not really sure. I don't know. The art feels a bit generic fantasy to me. So I might check this out, but probably no. But definitely in the Lighthouse Keeper when that is ready. And I do fairly regularly hear about new things. So more things might come to the list. But yes, Into the Lighthouse Keeper will be some point soon. I have something coming first week of June, and then other ideas I've got. I definitely want to play Astro Prisma when this is available, but sadly it's not available at the moment. They've closed the pre-orders, and I didn't back the crowdfunding campaign, so I'll just have to get this at some point. Other things. Yeah, I have a short list of things to try out for one-shots or for campaigns. So yes, there are ideas, and we'll get to them when we get to them. So I think we'll wrap it up here. Um, yes, I mean, I guess they finished the Kickstarter campaign, and they're probably focused on fulfilling that rather than so I guess you can't see because I cut off a load of stuff in my browser window, but at the top right it said pre-orders are disabled. So yeah, I guess they like finished the crowdfunding campaign and they just want to get it fulfilled before doing anything else. So yeah, I'll get it at some points. But it does look very fun. Yes, so people have played it. I think those are people who either backed the Kickstarter or pre-ordered it when it was available for pre-order, like for a little while after the Kickstarter. Yeah, I think it finished backing like last year. Like the Kickstarter finished like last year or something. Maybe. And it's just not like the fulfillment hasn't finished yet. Let's see. Kickstarter, Astro Prisma. When did this finish? Oh wow, it was actually 2024, the Kickstarter. So I guess they're taking a while to fulfill it. Yeah, the latest update is January this year about shipping being in progress. So I assume at some point when they finally finish that, they'll open it for new orders. But yeah, honestly, something kickstarting in 2024 and only fulfilling in 2026 isn't that unusual. Kickstarters often take a really long time. Like I backed, let's see, I mean Dolmenwood was like a year overdue or something. But yeah, things sometimes take a really long time. Anyway, yes, I guess we'll wrap it up here, and we'll return on Friday for Across 1,000 Dead Worlds, which is not against 1,000 Dead Worlds, no matter how much my brain wants it to be. And yes, things will be revealed. Upcoming things will be revealed as they happen. So thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.